The SABC has welcomed the appointment of the SABC Board by President Jacob Zuma yesterday, but there's been mixed reactions to the appointments of Bongumusa Makhathini as the Chairperson and Febe Potgieter-Gqubule as the Deputy Chairperson. To talk more about this, we are joined in studio by Kate Skinner. She, of course, is an independent broadcasting researcher, and Advocate Dali Mpofu, who is Economic Freedom Fighters National Chairperson. And also, let me remind you that he was also here at the SABC as in a very high position as our CEO. So it's so good to see you both. Thank you very much for coming in this morning.
Thank you, Leah.
Good.
Nice to be here.
All right, Kate, I'm going to begin with you because we had the conversation very recently about the concern, the fact that the board wasn't approved and appointed. We were running without one. Are you happy now?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that we now have a board is just a massive step forward. So that is very positive.
Good.
I mean, you know, obviously there's some issues around who the deputy chair and the chair are, but the fact that we can now move ahead, we can sort out some of the financial crises, you know, appoint our new executives, you know, conclude the editorial policy sort of issues. I mean, all of those things. I mean, it's so heartening to be able to move forward.
Yeah. Dali, let's get your immediate reaction. Do you like this new board that's been appointed and approved?
Well, not really. We don't like the appointments of the chair and the deputy chair. But I agree with Kate that you'll remember that we wrote a letter a week or so ago actually urging the president to stop the impasse because it was quite unsavory. So the fact that there is some level of certainty is a good thing. It's because you couldn't have an SABC operating without a board. I mean, that's just awkward.
Yeah.
But the choices that were made, I mean, we made our choices very clear that they should have retained the chair and the deputy of the interim board.
Yes.
Because they had done a good job. Well, even if they didn't do that, these particular choices are quite worrying because of the associations they have with Jacob Zuma, the direct associations. I mean, the chair is involved with the Bongumusa Foundation, which is one of President Zuma's wives. The deputy is one of the chief campaigners for the Nkosazana Zuma campaign in the ANC. So clearly this is something that should not be welcomed, particularly this volatile time politically. Yeah. Remember, the wheels came off here around the Pulukwane conference. So it looks like now we're going to have the same, the history repeating itself. Yeah.
Well, let's, I suppose, not make assumptions because this was the approved board. These were the names that were given to the presidency through Parliament, and they've been obviously appointed, and the chair and the deputy are a little bit worrying. Having said that, though, a lot of these members were part of the interim board, and the interim board has done a very good job, and I think everybody can attest to that. So, Kate, are you concerned? Obviously, I know there are question marks, but
they're definitely question marks. But I mean, you know, as civil society organisations, you know, we were very happy about the fact that, you know, that the interim board members were part of the permanent board because they had done an incredibly good job, and because you need that kind of continuity, particularly given the crisis at the SABC, you know, and the need for people that had been involved in the financial issues, you know, issues around the editorial policies to then continue. One of the things that we were sort of saying as civil society was that, you know, if you look at the new chair, that he definitely, as a first starting point, needs to resign from this Ngema Zuma Foundation. That is absolutely critical. And it's interesting, you know, we were looking at his interview that he did in Parliament. And basically what he said is that he was aware of conflict of interest issues. He said, look, I'm very aware of this, and I will resign from this foundation.
Okay.
And that was heartening because there was a sense of like, you know, you are prepared to do the right thing. So now let's see him do the right thing. But at least he did say very clearly, you know, I am prepared to do that. And I think that's what he needs to do immediately.
What about Febe Potgieter-Gqubule, who, as we know, I mean, is in a very, very strategic position, being the chief of staff of the Nkosazana Zuma campaign, the presidential campaign.
I mean, that is significant, and it is a problem. I mean, it is interesting to look at how she played her role on the interim board, and she did play a good role on the interim board. The whole interim board played a significant role in terms of shifting things quickly. They had a 6-month period. They did an incredible amount in that 6-month period. But yes, of course, there are question marks around that. It's not ideal to have that person as the deputy chair, when she's so clearly aligned to a particular political faction, if we can put it that way.
Yeah, it's amazing, Dali, how on the very same day we get the announcement of the SABC board, the approval, the chairperson, the deputy, and then just a couple of hours later, I don't even know if it was that long, we get the reshuffle and we see a new communications minister coming in. What do you think was behind that?
No, look, I see the two things as directly linked myself. I mean, there was a reshuffle of the cabinet and a reshuffle of the SABC board, so to speak. And I don't think the two are unrelated. And just to come back to this point, independence is more about appearances. The point is that these individuals might, on their own merits, be good people and they'll do the right thing and so on, but that's not the point. The point is that an institution such as the SABC must be seen to be independent, and you cannot therefore select, out of a group of 12 people, select the two most politically aligned people, both in terms of the South African politics in general, but also in terms of the factional politics within the ANC. I think that that's a very worrying sign, knowing how important the SABC is. But back to the connection between the two events, I think that, it was quite clear that the president is, in my view, is under siege. And it's very clear that these are some of the what we call the last kicks of a dying horse, so to speak. Because he's obviously under siege to defy the ANC and do a cabinet reshuffle, and then on the same day, literally pluck your clear supporters to run the SABC. I think these are desperate times and, clinging to power at all costs. If you look at it in the context of the spy tapes judgment and all what is happening around us. Yeah.
Let's take a very quick break here on the program. When we return, we've got lots more to talk about. I mean, I also want to talk about that court order yesterday, which is a massive victory. And something that should never have been allowed in the first place. I keep hanging on because we'll tell you all about this. And we'll also talk about the fact that there are 11 board members. There's still a 12th position that's open, and we'll find out how that's going to be filled up. So stay tuned to Morning Live as this discussion continues.
Entrepreneurship and taking charge of your own destiny is a mindset, and it's something that should start at a very young age.
I started when I was around about 3 or something, because I have a bunch of paintings in the office. I have a teacher that teaches me and my class how to do business, and he was the one who taught me.
Being an entrepreneur makes you money-wise.
Before everyone spent their money, I would sell the little things I painted, and I'd sell my drawings and stuff like that.
In business, it is important to keep record of all your transactions.
I have a passion and I love making anything, so I chose to make Play-Doh and I'm passionate about it.
Catch Bophelong every Friday at 17:30.
Today on Rights and Recourse, we will unpack the new traditional court model.
The idea of the bill